Welcome to Everyday Ethics, everybody. We had a bit of a slow upload there, but never fear. We are here to answer all of your questions and to come up with fun and interesting examples. I'm sure Persephone is keen on that. Remember, we like the super chats and super stickers. And 3:15 today, we have Crime, Corrections, and Culture. And 4:05 today, we've got the debate between Liam Staten and Liquid Zulu. So we're busy people. So let's go over to Persephone and let her tell us what she's got to tell us and get to it.
It's the 100th episode.
Oh my God, I forgot. I'm so overwhelmed with stuff. I forgot.
Yeah, it's the 100th episode, and to celebrate, we're doing exactly the same thing that we do every day. Consistency. Please don't forget to go and follow on Twitch and to check out the things on Spotify, check out the merch, ask questions. Thank you, Robert, for the super sticker.
Now I'm going to go to Twitch.
No one has asked any questions. Oh, my voice sounds horrible.
No, wicked sexy.
Hate listening to my own voice. Terrible. I'm like a canary in every other way, but the sound of my own voice.
You know, I got a quick question. Can I just saw something on Facebook, and I see this quite a bit. The women who post pictures of themselves filtered.
Yeah.
What do they think is going to happen when people actually see them in person? Like, first of all, I can tell. I can tell, first of all, usually that it's a filter. But, like, what's the point of this?
The girls who do that, they are often posting for validation from people that will never meet them in real life. So they don't account for what will happen if someone sees them and they look wildly different. They're posting for, for validation. So they don't care. And they know that if I post like a highly filtered image of myself and then I meet someone in real life and they're like, you don't look like your pictures, they're not going to go and like comment under all of my posts, beware, she doesn't actually look like that. So one person realizes it, but you still got legions of people telling you, oh, you look so beautiful. Oh,
I'm going to start doing that, I think.
this is
Going on going on people's pages and saying, "Hey, why all the filters?" No, I wouldn't actually do that. That's a tremendous waste of time. But nevertheless,
it is. But also, like, I don't have the fucking time for that. Like, I don't have the time to filter myself. Who cares? Though, my old Samsung phone, if you used the selfie camera, it did have like a beauty filter, just standard, which I never changed. So some of my things are like did have like the Samsung beauty filter on them.
all right. Can we get to a topic? I've lost interest in this one. I'm sorry.
So the thing that I wanted to talk about, bear with me for a second.
Oh boy. I'm bearing.
So So, in The Good Place, this TV show, these people, there's a point here. These people go to hell. And the reason one of them goes to hell is basically for indecisiveness. And that got me thinking just about indecisiveness in general.
Yeah.
So I would like to talk about indecisiveness.
Okay.
And indecisiveness is an ethical issue. Because a lot of people think that if you're indecisive, it's not an ethical issue, it's just like a personality quirk. But there is like mounting discussion that indecisiveness is an ethical issue. Thoughts?
I want you to explain to me why you think it's an ethical issue first.
I don't know that it is an ethical issue.
You just said it was an ethical issue.
I said there's mounting discussion that
Before
it's an
that,
ethical
you said
issue.
it is an ethical issue.
Did I?
Yeah.
Words just come out of my mouth. No, I don't know that it's an ethical issue. There is discussion about whether it is, but the discussion about whether it is very reliant on like responsibility and duty and virtue ethics and all of those kinds of things. So I'm not sure that it is, but the topic was interesting. And
So
I
you
mean,
decided to do it.
well, yes, because I don't know. I just thought it was. I personally don't like it when people are indecisive, and then I was wondering what objectivism said about indecisiveness, if anything at all. And would you
I
like to?
can't tell you what objectivism says. I can tell you what I say.
Okay, let me tell you. So if I searched indecisiveness as an ethical issue, and here's what I got: failure of responsibility and duty. Um, Lack of will. According to virtue ethics, acting ethically requires not just knowing the good, but having the character to do it. Indecisive people may know what they should do, but lack the resolve or moral courage to act. Impact on others, over perfectionism and selfishness, inauthentic living, and misguided goodness. So,
Okay.
thoughts.
So let me just tell you. So when it comes time to go somewhere, I generally do not care what I do, right? Where we go to eat, what I don't give it. I don't care. The problem I have is Diana is both indecisive and picky. So if I just randomly pick a place, it's liable to get me in hot water. So, but the point of this is that there can be multiple ethical decisions out there at a time, right? Where I would say that decisiveness can be a moral issue is if you end up wasting time. So now you're not actually engaging in activities that are in your best interest to engage in. You're sitting around thinking. But that might only. What about in situations that require a lot of thought, and so you appear indecisive? Then I would say it's perfectly fine. If it's a situation where there's multiple right answers, the things you can do, and you're just sitting around wasting your time, and it's actually harming you, well, then it would be unethical. It's entirely contingent on whether or not the indecisiveness is causing you harm. Now, as a general rule, I would say indecisiveness is causing you harm. And we should all learn to be more decisive. But you also don't want to be hasty and make bad decisions either.
So I agree with that, and I think that's where it could get.
Whoa.
Thank you, Nicole. Nicole, please let me know when your hat arrives.
You're hot. Remind me
Hat.
when your hat arrives, Nicole.
Anyway.
$20. Thank you so much, Nicole. It's very nice of you.
Yes, thank you very much. Now I'm distracted.
What? We're talking
said
about
I'm-
procrastination. Yes, if you're procrastinating, if you're not getting things done that you need to get done, that's a problem. So in that sense, it can be an ethical issue. So it depends on a lot of factors, as is usually the case. It depends on the urgency in which the decision is going to be made. It depends on what's the cause of the indecision. Are you, what's it, Buridan's ass?
What?
Look it up. Before you start looking at me like I'm crazy, look up Buridan's ass. I know what the hell I'm doing here. Jesus.
I don't. Okay.
Oh.
You're such a dick sometimes. 10 out of 10.
What do you mean? Hold on. I'm the dick because I mentioned the example. You didn't hear of it, and you mocked me with a mean, dirty look
A
that
mean,
you
dirty
gave
look.
me.
I gave you.
Akira's in the chat saying, "What the hell is that?" Don't look at pictures, he's saying. Meanwhile, I came up with a very good example for us to discuss. And then when I say, "Oh, look, how quick it turned," now I'm the dick. This is like my entire life story.
It's just the way
You
you
know
did
who
it.
knew? Dollars to Peanuts said Jim Valiant knew what I was talking
Who
about.
says dollars to peanuts? Actually, this is a bone that I have to pick with you. What the hell is dollars to peanuts?
It used to be dollars to donuts, but now donuts are like $4, so it doesn't work. So you say, I'll bet $1 to a peanut because it's basically I'm giving you big odds. I stand to lose a lot.
It sounds wrong. It's like when Mark says bread and onions on the table. Like both of you, just weird sayings.
It's not a weird saying.
Dollars to
I'm not
peanuts.
sticking up for bread and onions, but dollars to peanuts. I mean, you could say dollars to pennies if that's what you want, if that makes you feel better.
I mean, or I could just keep saying dollars to donuts.
But donuts, it doesn't make any sense. But can you go to the Buridan's ass? Explain it, please.
Okay, so it's a paradox regarding free will and rational decision making. It describes a hypothetical donkey placed exactly halfway between two identical piles of hay, which starves to death because it cannot find a rational reason to choose one over the other. It illustrates the paralyzing effect of having perfectly balanced alternatives.
Right. So what I'm saying is if there are multiple, like tonight I'm going out to eat. When we get done with the debate, going out to there's multiple options. We go to a Puerto Rican restaurant sometimes. We go to an Italian restaurant sometimes. Thursday, this place called the Fresh Market gives deals. We also like Thai food, Chinese food is Asian. There's also this place that serves pitaya that I like. Any of these would be perfectly ethical to do, right? And it's sometimes difficult to make the decision. What do you want? Now, if you spend so much time trying to figure it out that you don't actually eat, that's a problem. If you spend so much time trying to figure it out, trying to figure out where you go, that you miss out on doing other things, then it's a problem. If the indecisiveness is causing you inner tension, it's a problem. But if I'm sitting around having fun with my girlfriend, joking about where we're going to go to eat, and we're spending quality time together, not much of a problem. My point is that when you have multiple ethical decisions, it can become an issue, but it doesn't have to be, and it depends a lot on the context. Now, in the case of the asses don't think rationally, so it would never be in the position to make a rational choice, but the rational thing to do in that situation is basically to flip a hypothetical coin and just make a goddamn decision.
Did you say pitaya?
Yeah.
Dragon fruit.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the problem with that? What do you mean?
I don't know. It's just we don't call it pitaya. We just call it dragon fruit.
Yeah, I don't know. The place calls it pitaya. I don't know. What do you want from me? It is dragon fruit, though. Same thing.
So in marketing, when we're designing landing pages, we're trying to sell things we're trying to get people's information, or we're trying to sell them things. We're very cognizant of something called option paralysis.
Or analysis paralysis.
Yeah, well, I mean, in marketing, it's called option paralysis.
Okay.
And it's basically you don't give them too many options. You give people a maximum of 2 options.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of people are very indecisive, and a lot of people, like, even in ways that they don't realize they are being indecisive. So we find that if you give people the option of give us your details or go and look at the rest of the website, you lose them. If you say give us your details or fuck off, they give you their details.
You don't tell them that. You don't say that. I don't believe that for a second. You don't tell your potential customers to fuck off.
Well, it's a landing page, so no, you're not actually talking to them, but the options that they have are fill in this form and give us your details, or exit.
Yeah.
leave. So those are the options. If you give them the option like, here, give us your details, or look at the product catalog, or do this, then you don't get their details. If you only give them, give us your details, that's more people fill in the form.
Yeah, too many options can lead to a difficulty in making decisions. There's also something called analysis paralysis, and a lot of people who are perfectionists suffer from that because they won't go ahead with something because they can't judge it to be absolutely perfect, like something they're making, a drawing, a book, whatever, a project. So, sometimes you have to. You never use those words, though. I've used those words quite a bit. I don't know.
What words?
Fuck off. Yeah.
I tell people to fuck off all the time.
Do you really?
Yes. I'm very rude in real life, but in like a playful way. I tell my friends to fuck off. I generally don't speak to people I don't know if I can avoid it.
Okay. All right. I don't have any customers. I do sometimes get upset with the people in the chat, though.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to be in a meeting today because it was a client that we fired, and my business partner was worried that if I spoke to him that I would be very rude, so I wasn't allowed to be in that meeting.
So, I know Persephone wants to talk about herself because she's self-obsessed, but we're going to move on. We're going to elaborate on this topic a little bit. I'm only kidding, of course. Persephone is wonderful. She's amazing, and I would die without her. Okay. A good way to overcome indecisiveness is value clarification. Know what your values are, and beside that, purpose, long range purpose. When you have purpose in your life, and when you know what your values are, decisions become far easier to make because I know, okay, is this in line with my long-term purpose, or is it going to take away from my long-term purpose? Those things that are in line with your purpose, you do. Those things that aren't, you don't. And like, even when it comes to entertainment, for fun, whatever, if you know your values, then you pick. Now, that's not, nothing is a silver bullet. There's always things that are difficult to decide. But if you know who you are, know what you want, know right from wrong, it will become far easier to make decisions. Especially once you recognize that you are worth it, that you have a right to be happy, to do what you want, and to do what's best for you.
I wonder if some indecisiveness comes from knowing what you want to do and then worrying about how other people will perceive that decision or how it's going to impact other people. You have to have all of the not all of the information. You have to have all of the information available to you before you make a decision and you judge that information. And then a lot of people use that as an excuse for indecisiveness, as an excuse to continue being indecisive. Well, I don't have all of the information. Well, I haven't been able to study all of the information. Not just decisions, like simple decisions like where to go out to eat, but decisions that will impact their life. Do I take a job in another city? And then they spend 8 months thinking about it because they have to weigh everything up, and they think that they're being conscientious, and they think that they're being, can't think of the word.
Thoughtful, prudent,
Thorough. But
I'd like to move to California myself. If I could afford it, I would move to California.
I want to move to the UK, but I can't leave my mother.
Yeah, we've been through this already.
I know.
We don't need to go through that again. So what?
That
What's
comment
happening?
says that comment says principled. So they think they're being thorough, and they think they're being conscientious, but what they're actually doing is just avoiding making a decision by using that as an excuse,
If
basically.
you say to me, "How do you know?" I'm gonna go ballistic.
I wasn't going to
Okay,
because
because you do that a lot. That's something that
I
you do.
know. But the thing is, at the end of the day,
You hear
all
my
of
dogs
these.
howling?
Well, I heard the siren first and then the dogs. But, we're used to it by now. At the end of the day, most of these questions, most of these topics have the same core principles, right? Think about what your values are. Be clear.
Right, but the main thing is to understand what is in your best interest. What is going to be good for you? What is going to make you happy? These are the things that are important in life. What's gonna make you healthy and happy. And to me, that's really what matters is your health and happiness. And if something's gonna make me miserable, I shouldn't do it. If so, unless no, I shouldn't put it that way. If something is going to long term make me miserable, I should not do it.
What do you think about people who outsource their decision making? All of their decision
Christopher
making.
Smith says, typo, we got to get a thing for the typos because this is great. He says the old objectivist joke was it's immoral not to love in California. Does that refer to actually falling in love? Does it refer to the local prostitutes? I don't know. What are we dealing with there, Christopher Smith and Cali?
I just asked Mark. What do you think about people who outsource their decision making?
What do you mean? What do I think? What do you think I think about that?
I know what you think about that. I don't care. I'm just there's 9 minutes to go, and
There's
this was
9 minutes to go.
This
We
was the
actually had a
topic.
good topic. Once we got to the hookers, that would have made a great discussion. But you went a different direction. So
Okay, let's talk
no,
about
okay. So I
hookers.
just
What
want
do you,
everybody to know we're not talking hookers because Persephone wants me to talk about what I think about
what if someone is
outsourcing your decision.
What if someone is indecisive about becoming a hooker?
You don't want to do that. You shouldn't be indecisive. Becoming a hooker, it's no way to live. Um, it's interesting. So yesterday, I want to get to the outsourcing thinking in a second, but I have an old friend of mine who is a prostitute. And I don't mean old, like I knew her since she was in elementary school. And the first time I went to the aforementioned Puerto Rican restaurant, and I see her out there, and I said, "Hey," I recognized her. And so whenever I go, I look out and see if she's there, and if she is, I'll buy her something to eat, whatever. But I frequently miss her. But the guy in the restaurant says, "Hey, your friend was here." And so yesterday we went to the Puerto Rican restaurant, and it was pouring rain out, and we turned up the street, and there was a prostitute sitting in the grass, crying her eyes out in the pouring rain. And Diana says, "I feel so bad." And I said, "Well, okay, but what are you going to do?" You know what I mean? You could go buy her, you could go give her money, and she's going to go get high with it. You could go buy her something to eat, but then you're wasting your money, and she's going to go right back to the same spot. There's just nothing you can do. And it's sad that people are living like that, but most of the time, especially like in the case of my friend, for instance, she's living like that because of the choices that she made that led her to that spot. But back to the outsourcing thing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a bad to just pivot back. But that was one of the sadder things that I saw was my friend that, I knew her since I remember the first time I ever met her. I was at the library. I must have been in sixth grade. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And it's, but the prostitution is not a good career. Don't make a clip out of that, but it's not. It really isn't. It's demoralizing. It will ultimately break you. As far as outsourcing your decisions to other people, of course you shouldn't do it. Because other people may not, for one reason, other people may not have your interest at heart. Plus, you learn not to think for yourself. And we want to foster independence, intellectual and material independence from other people. We want to be able to succeed based on what we do. We want to learn to trust ourselves to make good decisions. Because if you outsource your thinking to Persephone, Persephone may not always be around to do your thinking for you, and then you're screwed.
Yeah, but that also goes back to something that you said on the Capitalist Corner today. Ayn Rand said is not a good
Argument.
reason.
No.
Yeah. So you can't outsource your decision making to your friends or your family, but you also shouldn't outsource your decision making to big thinkers like Ayn Rand.
No, not to anybody. And you shouldn't start, probably shouldn't start an OnlyFans account. Akira Felix is suggesting that. I got to be, a lot of people think that I should make one. It's been told to me by so many people to make an OnlyFans account. It's just, I don't want to make money off of my beauty. I want to make money off of my brains.
So, genuinely, have people really told you that?
No, nobody's ever said that to me even once.
Well, I've been told that I should.
I mean, there's people out there that like post their feet and get paid money for it. Weird stuff. I don't know.
Genuinely, I've had multiple conversations with my friends like about the benefits of doing that, because it's faceless. No one would ever know it's you. Girls make so much money doing like the feet pics thing. So that's a conversation that we've had on like. James, that's rude.
Jim Valiant says, please, no, Michael. Yeah. Don't make me release the DMs, Jim. Okay. So the bottom line is that we do want to learn to be more decisive, right? That being decisive is a good thing if you're making good decisions. So not only do we want to be decisive, but we want to make good decisions. We want to have the correct values. We want to have a productive purpose to aim at. And all these things help us make good decisions. We need to use our rational mind in order to do this. That's the bottom line. What do you say?
So do you think decisiveness or indecisiveness is an ethical issue?
I think everything is an ethical issue. Any human behavior, anything you do, it has ethical implications. Anything. The thing is it immoral? Is it a reflection on your character? Whatever. That's going to be context dependent, right? But ultimately, everything that human beings do has ethical implications, because whatever you do is for you or against you.
Good answer.
That's what Christopher Smith says. Looks like great minds think alike. Unless you guys disagree with me, in which case, to hell witches.
Put that on a shirt.
Well, this has been the 100th freaking episode of this show. Can you believe it? 100 episodes we've done now. That is awesome. It's a great milestone. Thank you to everybody in the chat for being here to join the conversation. 15 minutes to go. We've got crime, corrections, and culture. And then at 4:05, we got the great debate between the young bucks. What do you want to say, Persephone? I see you're chomping at the bit.
So Akira said even the decision to push the red button or the blue button. Can I just tell you something?
No,
I know this is going to drive you insane. So, I like to go to the Moral Dilemmas subreddit and see what people are struggling with.
Yeah.
They are still talking about the red button, blue button thing. And I'm like, surely this conversation is dead now. Surely. But there's multiple posts discussing it. And apparently they were discussing it on whatever, that other channel.
ARI was discussing it. That's what I've heard. I didn't actually see it.
Yeah,
okay.
Apparently.
All right. So thanks, everybody. And until tomorrow or until 15 minutes, whenever you tune back in, be ethical.
Bye.